The dish I tried this week is sushi. Sushi has a good history, actually. We know a good amount about it, but the beginning was not quite understood. We think that sushi was first introduced around the 9th century in Japan, but was only available to the rich up until the 15th century. After the 15th century, there was this idea that would revolutionize how sushi was done forever. So 400 years later, in the 1820s, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name because I know I would get it wrong. He became the godfather of modern sushi by inventing the modern sushi process that we use today. He used fresh fish. Who would have thought? Before then, they had preserved fish, and that's how they would do their sushi, with the pickling process. From then on, modern advances made it more available until you reach now where sushi is all over the world. This technology, such as fridges and refrigerated units and trucks that allow it to reach different places farther away from the coast where the fish is still fresh. So, culture. Sushi is something with a very rich culture to it. Asian countries are very rich with tradition and have specific ways of doing things, and sushi is no exception. Edamai, or sushi chefs, can spend years practicing the art of sushi making. To make pufferfish, sushi chefs go on and spend years, 10 plus, sometimes more, where they learn how to do it, since it can kill you if you don't prepare it right. The composition for this, I use the nori. It's seaweed, and it's always used in a little sheet, but it's so small in grams that here we use 10 sheets, or approximately 26 grams of it. 9 calories, so little fat that I couldn't even find a number for it. 1.3 grams of carbohydrates, 1.5 grams of protein, and it is a complete protein, which makes it a good choice, I guess, if you could eat a lot of it. 0.1 grams of fiber, and so many minerals and nutrients, it's hard to describe them all, but some being vitamin A and C, potassium, magnesium, calcium, iron, and zinc. Relationships to disease. It is widely known that in Asian countries, the population are living longer lives on average than other countries. They're even having trouble now that there's too many old people and that they're not reproducing fast enough. But you can't say that they don't live a long life. It could be a coincidence, but sushi is a large part of their culture and a main dish that they prepare and eat on a regular basis. And with nori seaweed being a superfood, it could make sense that sushi is literally making them live longer. The ingredients. So how do you know if it's fresh? How do you know if it's good quality? As always, price will be one of the biggest indicators of quality ingredients. If you're in an Asian country, you can also look for their certificates of training, where they do have to go spend years learning about how to make sushi. Another tell for quality comes with the taste. The fish needs to be super fresh, and after the first bite, you will definitely know if it was fresh or not. You'll know. So, in agriculture, nori harvest usually begins in December, but it'll always occur in the winter months. The later it is harvested, the actual harder it is to harvest. So, over the past decade and a half, production has increased on all seaweeds and algae, so it's safe to say nori is more available for anyone and everyone that wants to have it. We'll have no problem producing enough for everyone. Seaweed is also very sustainable. As you know, it's in the sea, seaweed. It doesn't require land space, no fertilizers, no pesticides, which makes it a great choice, since those are one of the things that's hurting the land the most. The process for making them is just not very sustainable. So not requiring that is a very big plus for seaweed. It also pulls CO2 from the air in the process of growing, since it is a plant. And the preparation, like it says here, fair warning, I have never prepared sushi. I'm not a sushi chef, but I do imagine it like putting together a sandwich. You have the ingredients ready and you just kind of roll them up, do it right. So if it is a nori wrapped sushi roll, you start with laying the wrap flat. You'll place the rice, the fish, any other ingredients such as avocado, cucumber, crab even, and you wrap it in there just nice and right, and then fold it up and Make sure it's tight so you can enjoy the sushi without it falling out everywhere. For the tasting, I did enjoy the sushi. It had a good taste to it, but sometimes I had a problem with the texture of the fish. Like a slimy kind of feeling. I just I didn't like it that way. But I did like the flavor. So if I was able to get it away from my tongue and not feel the texture of it, I did enjoy it. The taste is sweet from the rice, the sushi rice, but savory from the soy sauce. I didn't use any wasabi here. So I didn't have that kind of tang, but and obviously a little fishy, from the fish. Sushi is often eaten with chopsticks or your hands, but never with a fork in their culture. It is also served with pickled ginger and many times with wasabi, like earlier. Here's a picture of it: just sushi roll, nori seaweed, sushi rice, smoked salmon, and avocado. For the comparison of my culture versus theirs, my culture compared to a sushi loving country's culture is definitely different. Western and Eastern culture is always different. It's probably always going to be different. And that's just kind of how it is. Asian culture is based more on tradition, whereas American culture is based on everyone's traditions mixed together, as a melting pot. So one of the biggest things that would differ from how Americans eat sushi versus how Asians would be that we just eat it with a fork. But tradition does say otherwise. Many times I've not been able to use chopsticks well. And, I would love to use a fork, but you can't do that without getting some bad looks. And here are my references.